Muy bien, ahora escucharemos la presentación de la maestra Rosalía Valero, pero bueno, antes de escucharla vamos a escuchar obviamente la presentación de su biodata. La maestra Rosalía Valero es directora de Desarrollo Estratégico, América-Inglés en Cambridge University Press. Assessment. Su vida profesional se ha desarrollado en el ámbito de la enseñanza, aprendizaje y evaluación del inglés. Rosalía ha combinado su existencia universitaria con la UNAM, donde inició Aston, donde obtuvo su maestría en enseñanza del inglés, y Cambridge, actualmente. Vive en la Ciudad de México, pero su vida diaria usualmente incluye colaboración con colegas en diversos estados de la República y o países. Bienvenida, Rosalía, y puedes dar inicio a tu presentación.
Hola, buenos días. Todos espero ya me estén escuchando y ahorita, qué barbaridad, ni siquiera un minutito para que se levanten, para que empiecen a hacer algo. Estuvo tan bonita el cuento que nos contó Mario, que ya decía yo, esto es así como en las noches cuando ponemos nuestro cuento. Vamos a ver que funcione bien toda la tecnología. Alex, por favor, porque sí me gustaría poder ver lo que voy a estar presentando. Entonces... espero que no haya nada indebido de presentar. Espérenme un momentito. Tengo que ir acá. Y aquí es donde empiezo a no ver nada. ¿Qué están viendo?
Estamos viendo a ti, Rosalía.
¿Me están viendo a mí? Oh, eso es magnífico. Pero ahora quiero que puedan ver mi pantalla. A ver. No, esa no, porque no, espérenme. ¿Por qué no quieren? Según yo, deberíamos de poder estar viendo. Ok.
No pasa nada si te seguimos viendo a ti solita.
Ay, me parece bien, por eso los quiero. Es que a mí me gusta, es que cada Zoom, no sé si se han dado cuenta, pero cada Zoom tiene su personalidad. Y entonces desde que entré, me dijo, espérate porque aquí no te conozco. Entonces creo que tengo que ir a la 2. Ahora que ven.
Te seguimos viendo a ti nomás.
Ok, vámonos entonces mejor a la PDF, ni modo.
Ahí está.
Ya estamos
Ahí
compartiendo
está
la
ya.
pantalla.
Ya te
¿Toda
vemos.
entera?
Sí.
¿Qué dice? ¿Nada más se ve una cosa?
Mindfulness, the
The here and now,
and
y es lo único que pueden ver.
el 19 de septiembre 2022, Rosalía Valero.
Pero nada más se ve una pantallita. Ok. Bueno, entonces, ¿cómo está todo el mundo? Encantada de estar aquí con ustedes. Y aquí me deben de estar viendo en chiquito. Ok, y vamos a ver si sigue queriendo la tecnología. Y aquí, cuando les digo, vamos a empezar lo más importante del día de hoy que les puedo decir. Ok, ¿está todo el mundo listo? Because now we're starting in English. I've just remembered this one is in English, right? So, mindfulness, the here and now. Thanks for that lovely presentation, Alex. It was absolutely fantastic. I've always said that for the last 2 years or so, next time when they ask me for my bio data, I'm going to say, just say Rosalía Valero, human being, right? And happy to be here. So Rosalía Valero, human being, happy to be here with you. My most important message of the day for you today. Happy birthday, Flex. You, my lovely Flexos Universidad de Colima, you are my 4th university. Really, you're always in my heart. So wherever I go, I take you with me. So I hope you've been enjoying all the nice rides lately. But let's start today because believe it or not, and somebody will have to tell me how long I will have for this. How long, Maria, if you can open your mic and tell me, because I'm going to set a timer for these. Please be brutally honest. How long would you like me to take here? Because I'm going to set a timer.
For me, you can take an hour, but we're going to ask Elisa, our new principal. She can let us know how long.
Just
she can be the
Elisa, querida, if you let me know, I promise to try and follow instructions. Would that be like 40 minutes or 35 minutes? Because I know we are a bit pressed for time, but let me know so that I can see how to go.
Minutes, it's okay. Thank you, Rosalía.
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Okay,
Fine.
40
Yes,
minutes
yes,
starting.
40 minutes. Go for it.
40 minutes. Okay, no. Okay. Oh, yes. No. Okay, 40 minutes starting now, I think. So look at that. Wow, isn't that a long agenda? Don't worry, because this is a session where I want you to relax. So look at that, but don't worry, because we're not here to worry about anything. How could you be worrying about when I intend to talk about mindfulness? That would be defeating the purpose of what I would like to do here today. So we're going to talk about, I hope, positive things, maybe not so positive at the very beginning, but bear with me. And before I continue, just because people maybe have heard about mindfulness a little bit, maybe never, right? And I will try and see how much I can read your chats. But in the meantime, let me start with a healthy health warning. This session is not about serious health concerns, okay? So I'm going to be talking about mindfulness from the point of view of somebody who started exploring mindfulness, because I heard about this, I had heard about this several years ago and decided it was something really good. And so I went on exploring. So this is what I'm going to ask of you. And I have lovely colleagues here. So all of you, you know who you are. You are positively fantastic. We're going all to be beginners, shall we? What do I mean by that? If we look at the beginner's mind, we can see that there are many possibilities, okay? But if you look at the expert's mind, there's only very few possibilities. So let's be beginners, all of us, and I'm being brutally honest with you, starting with myself. So this is the expert's mindset. Do you see that tea, this lovely chamomile tea, lovely té de manzanilla, as we call it here in Mexico, right? So how do experts think? I know everything. I'm the best. Nobody can teach me anything, okay? Let's not do that today, shall we? Let's have a beginner's mind. And when I say a beginner's mindset, I said, look at that. Is there still room for new things? Is there still room for exploring other alternatives, possible things that we haven't done that way? And while I was thinking about this, I thought, I would like my beginner's mindset to be not like that, but to have more room, right? So I look for another cup of tea where I could show you, but I said, but really, if I'm being frank, and as I said, brutally honest with you, when it comes to mindfulness, I want to be like this. Why? Because there's lots of room. And that's what I want to do, because I love reading about mindfulness, doing mindfulness, having mindfulness, experiencing mindfulness. And I would like you to start thinking about it like that. If by now you think, oh my God, this Rosalía, is it going to be some sort of new agey thing? What sort of hippie ideas is she going to bring to the table today? As I said, bear with me. First of all, let me start with some frequent words, I think, that we heard a lot. And I'm still talking about, it's not that I want to live in the COVID time, right? I really hope that we are looking at the new normal, any way and shape that is being happening now. I do want to feel safe to be in a room with lots of people. I want to go back to Colima. Wasn't it lovely, Manzanillo? Because you know what I missed today, and mind you, you know what day it is today. So you know that here in Mexico City, we're a bit shaky, shall we say, but we hope it's only us that are shaking a little bit and nothing else shakes. So be positive, please, because we're all being positive here in Mexico City, okay? But some of the words that we started hearing go back 2 years ago, okay? And let me start by saying this first, because this is absolutely wonderful. What does this mean? This means that no matter how many people are in theory, listening to me right now, you're not really listening to me. You're already thinking, is she really going to finish in 40 minutes? Is Maria or Elisa or whoever, Alex, maybe start saying, come on, Rosalía, we said 5 minutes only, that was 20 minutes ago, etc., right? But don't worry. Let me start with some words that, as I said, not positive really, but because we have them on our minds frequently, if we start thinking about 2 years ago, because for many people, sadly, this is still happening, okay? So we heard things like disruption. And here you have always a good place to go and find for definition. As Mario said, we have to be humble. Sometimes we want to check some words that we want to use or whether it is appropriate to use them in a certain context, right? So we started talking about disruption and how education, life in general, if we think about it, how things were disrupted, right? At schools being closed, at universities, university language centers being closed, etc. In your life, in my life, in the lives of the people I love, my friends, my colleagues, etc., right? But then we started hearing things that were not that disruption, right? Negative. Things like resilience and being resilient. And this is a wonderful thing about we can still find in ourselves the ability to be happy, to feel successful, to feel like, yes, we can do it. It's like trying to make education happen. And for all parents here, I have a son, we call him Cricket at home, right? I don't think I'll have time for lots of personal anecdotes today, which is sad because I love sharing some personal anecdotes, especially about Cricket, because I think he has an unusual name for a young man, right? But resilience, and we said, okay, let's see if we can find resilience to go through what is happening today, because we want to go back to a feeling of well-being, because we want to feel happy again. We want to feel that it's okay to be happy, even though we know, or we knew at the time rather, that not everybody around the world was happy, that not everybody around the world was being well looked after or being taken care of because they were not healthy, etc. And one of the things that really started coming to people's minds was this idea of mindfulness. Remember the first thing I said, research has shown that most of the time we're not really paying attention to what we're supposed to be paying attention to. In other words, we're not here and now, we're somewhere else, and we might be thinking about the past or about the future, okay? But look at that wonderful definition of mindfulness. Being aware of your body. Being aware not just of your body, oh, look how beautiful I am, but how you are feeling, right? What is happening here in your mind, in our minds? Present moment, now. And what we're going to try and do is create a feeling of peacefulness, okay? Because I am not responsible for what is happening everywhere in the world, but I am responsible and I can do some things about what is happening here and how I'm feeling here. Some things, okay? Let's be humble here. So let's start talking about mindfulness. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you different ways of thinking about mindfulness. And if you can think of just one word, this is a challenge, just one word that you can use in Spanish to say mindfulness. In Spanish, when we talk about mindfulness, we're talking about X, just one word, okay? Because it's quite a challenge, believe it or not. Because if I want to tell you about mindfulness, this is what I would start. And you would see that there is black for here and now, because that is the best way to think about mindfulness. I am here and I am now. Here and now. And already I'm using 2 words, rather 3 words, here and now, right? So that would be probably at least 3 words I would use in Spanish. Estar, aquí, y ahora. That was 4, okay? That's why I studied languages, because mathematics never my Big thing, okay? So what does this mean? Let researchers do what they do best, which is research, and say, usually we're not paying really good attention to what we're supposed to be doing, but we can do it. Not all day long, not for hours, but we can do it for a little while, okay? So we want to be present and we want to be engaged. In other words, we want to be really seeing what is happening and reacting to what is happening. Because let's face it, some days we don't feel like being happy, like we are usually happy. Like I was brutally honest with you at the very beginning, today, this day in September, is a day where if you are in Mexico City, you tend to remember some things that happened years ago that were not so positive, right? And we're going to have an earthquake drill. Don't worry, it's not going to interfere with what I'm doing here with you right now. But when I let mindfulness come into my being, I'm in the zone. I'm here and now, right? And the wonderful thing about mindfulness is that it's something that we can start practicing right away. And I hope you will join me. I know you're at home, some of you are at an auditorium, right? And you may decide, no, this is too quirky for me, right? I'm not doing it. It's okay, it's okay. I even have a light way of going into mindfulness, don't worry, right? But mindfulness, when you feel really with you in the here and now, it can happen. You can have a moment of mindfulness, even when you are with people, for example, parents with their kids, right? With their pets. I hope you have pets. I know Alex, for example, is a cat person. Me, not a cat person. I'm a dog person. So we have 2 lovely dogs. They're part of our family. And whenever, for example, we go to an earthquake drill, like we have to do it today, we always make sure that we know who is supposed to take care of which dog, right? Like me, I always get the Chihuahua because she's very small, okay? Sometimes we can get this blissful state of mindfulness through music, and that is very nice. Or sometimes we're doing something that we really engage into, like a hobby or something that really interests you, okay? So it's using our senses to go there. So here and now, 3 very important words, with especially the 2 very strong words, here, now, mindfulness, okay? Now, being here now. Now, very important. And we're going to consider the world around us. We're going to consider what's happening here, but also here, okay? So that was my brain, my thoughts, and my feelings from my heart, okay? And let's face it, it's not easy sometimes to really pay full attention, okay, to this that is happening. I'm saying okay too often. I think it's because I'm trying to go quickly, okay? So one thing to know about mindfulness is how I started with the very first sentence here, well-researched. So this is not just Rosalía says, okay, or Rosalía said today, okay, no. This is really something that is being taken seriously, that has been taken seriously, and I will let you know about some countries where mindfulness in education is really being considered and has really come into education. So I'm here talking, when I say education, I'm talking about the context, and I'm also talking about the people involved, be it learners or educators, right? So it's a secular approach. I'm not going to talk anything about a specific religion, any religion. I'm not going to try you to convert to anything because it's secular. There's no religion involved. Mind you, there are some places, there are some religions that do embrace mindfulness, and that's a good thing. So if that is, for example, a possibility that you have, you may want to explore that. maybe not the religion itself necessarily, but going to how they see and react and do and act mindfulness, okay? So it's a natural impulse. Isn't that wonderful? We do want to stop thinking about 300 different things. We do want to stop worrying about, I am traveling this week, later this week, and I have to do this. And before I travel, I know I have to pack, and did I remember to do this? Did I charge? I have to remember to take the charger for my mobile. I have to. So mindfulness, you can hear lots of different definitions, lots of different descriptions, because it's become an umbrella term. So think of an umbrella, you open it, lots of things can come. And mindfulness was one of the most important things we thought about, and we started engaging in, and we started bringing to education more actively because of what happened 2 years ago, still a year ago, right? And basically that is that our lives changed. The lives of the people around us changed. We could see countries which were devastated by health issues, right, because of COVID. We could see how it was affecting our home, like parents staying at home. They said it was a wonderful time for people to fall in love, for people to realize they should get a divorce, but let's be more positive, right? Our job responsibilities, okay? We had, in many cases, to learn how to do things in a different way. And we had to make sure that learning went on. Because more and more we realize, yes, we talk about learning and teaching, but more and more we realize it's really learning, the huge thing we should focus on rather than just teaching, okay? Because I can be telling you something. Are you really paying attention to what I'm telling you? I don't know. We had to face what we could and couldn't do. So let's start, okay? When I say close your eyes, I really hope you close your eyes. And don't worry, I'll try and remember when I should ask you to open your eyes again. Are you ready? Please say yes or write yes, but do it even if you don't write it, okay? I'm going to ask you to explore your mindfulness island. An island, right? They say that no person is an island, but each one of us, we've got a mindfulness island. And you know the wonderful thing about this island? It's ours and ours only. So, are you ready? Close your eyes, right? Start looking at your island. Any island that comes to your mind. Any island will be perfect. Your mindfulness island. Start thinking, don't write, don't open your eyes, don't say, this is your island, your mindfulness island. What can you see? Just focus on what you can see. Okay? So you're seeing your island. What can you hear? Now focus on what you can hear. This is your island. It may be something logical, it may be something crazy, but it's your island. Now let's go to your nose. What can you smell? This depends on the sort of island you have for your mindfulness. Okay, let's be brave. What can you touch? But something safe, okay? Your mindfulness island is totally safe for you. So everything that you see, everything that you can hear, everything that you can smell, and everything that you can touch, totally safe. How do you feel? Think about that for 5 seconds. And if you saw me counting, that means that you open your eyes. Now open your eyes. Don't tell anybody, just think about it. How did you feel? How do you feel about after, how do you feel after going to your mindfulness island? Hopefully, more positively than before, okay? So thinking about mindfulness means that we started paying attention to our well-being. By the way, everybody open eyes. Yes, come back with me, right? You can have a bit of your coffee if you have coffee. That's a wonderful thing about remote sessions. You can have even a bit of coffee, okay? So you start paying attention to your well-being when you start focusing on mindfulness. Let me very quickly give you 5 steps to mental well-being. You know what's wonderful about this? It starts with one of my favorite words in any language in the world, right? Free. You don't have to pay anything. It's available right now. Maybe you didn't know before you joined today that I was going to ask you to go on a journey to your mindfulness island, right? That's what I mean. Mindfulness can be with you whenever you need it, okay? And let's look at when we started looking at well-being very seriously for learners, our learners, and for educators, you, all my colleagues, for our families, etc. These are 5 things that I say, this is what you should be doing. If it's social isolation, you shouldn't really feel personally isolated, right? Connect with other people in any way you want, okay? Physically active. You can walk, even if you're just in a flat, even if you're just in a house. I have stairs, go up and down the stairs, etc. Learn a new skill. Did you do anything? I, for example, started singing, right? I will not torture you with what I learned, but I started doing that. Being kind, because when we're being kind to other people, we're also feeling kindness in our hearts, in our beings, in our thoughts. And mindfulness, that was one of the most recommended things. So I'm going to tell you about a very interesting, very easy to read, very light, a very practical mindfulness article that I found, I discovered, and I loved. And you're going to see this lady. This lady is not Kate Brereton, right? But whenever I mention these, I found from that article, you're going to see it's a one-pager, right? And she has different ideas and tips where she says, take a few moments. Now try this mindful grounding exercise. Grounding because you want to be remembered here and now, okay? Shall we try? We're going to start with room. We already started with an island. Now forget about your island, or maybe using your island, you decide, think about a room. So what kind of room? If I decided to show you where I am, and because of what, believe it or not, there's a method to the chaos I am presently experiencing at home. Maybe you're thinking of a room like this. Probably not that nice for mindfulness, okay? Some of you I know maybe went for something more sort of like, I don't know, whimsical. Maybe you thought of a room and I said, I like flowers, I like natural life so much. I would like to be in a room like this. Yes, I like that kind of room. Doesn't have to be all colors, flowers. Maybe you decide you love roses. I love roses. Maybe you decide you want tulips. Maybe you decide whatever you want to have, okay? Or maybe you remember when you were little and you felt totally safe with your parents, right? So you think of what you thought was your favorite room in the house, or what would have been your ideal bedroom, right? When you were a child, whatever room, okay? You're thinking about it. Now, we're going to have and think about colors for the room, because some of you might be thinking, Rosalia, too much pink there, okay? Just like some people thought, too many colors. I want just all flowers to be one color. It's your room, okay? So some things we're going to consider for your room, or you are going to consider for your room. Colors. Now that you have found your room, see if you can find 5 different colors. I'm sorry, I'm looking at people to see when I start getting, Rosalía, only 10 minutes left, okay, or 5. So colors are not the same because you have different shades of colors. So even if you say red, that wouldn't be enough. Even if you said blue, that wouldn't be enough, okay? Different kinds of colors, okay? Just focus on the colors, not on the things. You're going to have to think about the things because they were there. That was where you found the colors, okay? Imagine if you could spend 3 minutes just thinking about your room and focusing on the colors, okay? You can try this at home later. For now, open your eyes if you had closed them, right? And let's go on to a different kind, because I want you to experience different ways of getting. So again, this is not Kate. I would be surprised if these were Kate. I will try and see what she looks like later. But another idea, this time we just focused on an island and then we went to colors, remember? Now let's see about sounds, okay? Close your eyes very quickly. And see if you can hear sounds. I know, some of you may be getting the se compran, colchones, whatever. We get that all the time. Or are you getting the tamales one? Hay tamales oaxaqueños, right? Maybe you get a different sound like that in Colima. I really don't know. But maybe, and you can open your eyes if you want to see the different things that you can have visions of, for example. You can think about the sound of, what am I thinking of? The sound of rain. It's been raining heavily in Mexico City. I know, so, oh, by the way, you're okay, right? Because I heard about the hurricanes and all the things that are happening. And I know that Colima was one of the states where you were getting a bit or a lot of the hurricane. So I hope everyone is okay. But there was a lot of water coming into houses and everywhere, right? But maybe you can hear a subtle rain or a very hard rain, I don't know. Or maybe you can hear something like this. Isn't that great? I always look at that. It looks so nice, so green, and I can hear it. This is something you say, I can really hear the sound of the water, how it's coming, okay? It's a gentle sound. For me, it's a gentle sound. Mindfulness should always get you to a nice place. It doesn't have to be totally quiet, but to a nice place. Or maybe you want to go to, what is that? Is it like the rainforest, right? Is it totally quiet? No, it's not. Maybe you want to listen to some little nice creatures, right? Remember, wherever you go, whatever you hear, whatever you can smell, everything is safe for you because it's your place. You like the idea of water, I can see. Okay, how about something like that? Something that really makes you think about how water, apparently so calm, so insignificant maybe, is so powerful, right? And can also make wow sounds, like when it's like this kind of waterfall. But you know what I remember? I remember that if I were with you in Manzanillo, and I hope we could be there, all of us next year, right? Because as Mario said, that's one of the lovely things that we have, that we are with you and we can see you, right? And I love talking to you, my colleagues, and all my future colleagues. You know what I miss? You know what I really love hearing? The sound of the sea, the waves. Whenever I have the pleasure and the honor of being there with you for my annual thing with my lovely flexos, right? I think of the sound of the sea. I get to my room and the first thing I do is I open the curtain and I can see how the sun sets, and then I can wake up in the morning, right? When the sun is rising, but I can hear the waves. I can hear the sea because I love the sea. Okay, so this is what you did. You tune into the world around you with sound. You didn't want to hear about the se venden, and you didn't want to hear about the tamales. But if right now you close your eyes, don't think about the photographs you saw, just very quickly, 5 seconds, see if you can identify 3 sounds. Open your eyes if you close them. And I'm sure you identified sounds. I can hear one of my doggies doing something, right? And I hope it's a safe thing. I can hear my husband downstairs and he's watching something, although I know he turns the volume down because he knows that I am doing something here with you, okay? And I can hear something in the technology around me saying, there's something here that you'll have to check when you finish, okay? So you can always go to sounds. You don't have to buy anything. Remember, mindfulness, you can get to it totally free. Do we have more ideas from Kate? Yes. Let's go to another one. I'm a bit deaf. I have always been a little deaf all my life. And they say that when one of your senses is a bit weak, that means another one of your senses is very strong. Have you heard that before? In my case, I've always been a little bit deaf, right? But my sense of smell, very good. So I love it when I get lovely smells. I don't like it when I don't get lovely smells, okay? So now let's go for smells, shall we? And we're going to try and find 2 smells around you. Do you want to close your eyes? It's easier when you close your eyes, actually, right? Me, I cannot close my eyes because then I'm just showing you things I cannot even see myself, okay? So not a good idea for me to close your eyes, but feel safe to close your eyes. And you're going to try and find 2 smells around you. Now, obviously, this depends on where you are. So, and I know some of you have not closed your eyes. It's okay. And you know, I'll be showing you things. So if you want to open them now while still trying to focus on smells, feel free to do so. So if you're in a classroom, you can think of the smell of the classroom, the smells that you can find. If it's school has just started, you can smell even things like new notebooks, books, right? Lovely things like that. Okay. If you are a popular teacher, maybe you still get some apples, although maybe some people are going to say, "Ay, Rosalía, that is so last century." Okay, maybe. If you think that you are in a market, right, you're going to have different things. And look at this photograph. Now, if you have closed your eyes, come back and look at this photograph. This is an interesting photograph because it says this is a woman carrying, I think it's a woman because of the hats, right? I think it's a woman carrying a baby, right? So you can see, oh, don't you love the smell of babies? When you smell their heads, their hair, there's nothing like it. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite smell, right? Babies' heads, especially if it's yours, okay? And lots of other things. Don't go to the other smells that we know that babies can give you, okay? But what about, I told you I have dogs, and I know many of you have dogs, right? This is one of the things that you cannot do with your cats, Alex. You could never do that with your cat, right? But you could do that with your dog. You could take your dog for a walk in the park, and they love it so much, right? And what sort of smells? It depends on the sort of park. I know you have very interesting parks there in Colima, right? And I heard about this park that has been built thinking about recycling lots of different things. If you haven't heard about that or seen that park, explore it because it's amazing. And it's September, and believe it or not, here in Mexico City, I don't know about Colima, you will tell me, you can already see things that have to do with Christmas, okay? So what are the wonderful smells of Christmas? If one year I happen to be lucky enough to be in Colima near Christmas, I want to go to Maria Casas' house to have a taste of the wonderful things that I'm sure she will be baking and cooking and creating for Christmas, because she's a great cook, okay? So that was smells. And if you were still closing your eyes, now please open your eyes, because I'm going to tell you about mindfulness at Cambridge University. Like you, I am based at a university, although my university is slightly further away than yours, okay? But I am proud to be part of Cambridge University Press and Assessment, which is this unit from the University of Cambridge. So to come and talk to you about mindfulness, and as I said, from a beginner's point of view, right? A beginner's mind, I look at what my own university, my current university, University of Cambridge, is doing, right? And this is very much another thought for you. So there's a storm, there's lots of rain, and Alex Tello, I've been saying a lot of things about you because I said, thanks to Alex, I learned a new word in Spanish years ago. When we were talking, it was raining. He said, it's raining so hard, Rosalía, you have no idea. It's not only the thunder, right? So he said, no solo los truenos, sino la tronadera, sino la rayacera. And I said, okay, say that again. What is rayacera? I have never heard that word in my life. And I love it, Alex. So whenever it rains very hard and there's lots of thunders, etc., I think of you and the rayaceras in Colima, okay? So if there's a storm, we cannot calm the storm, right? But we can calm ourselves. This is all about mindfulness. The University of Cambridge has been researching, and when I say researching, I really mean, you know that we have lots of people who do that, researching different places. Here, it was the a neuroscience team, that this team has been working about researching the benefits of mindfulness. So I'm going to be sharing with you some of the benefits and some of the things that have been found. Remember what I said at the very beginning, this is not something to, what I'm going to share with you, what we are looking at being researched, the findings that we have had, what we have been discovering through our wonderful researchers, right, is that there are certainly benefits. Mario was talking about what I would call integrated learning and assessment, right? Formative assessment, how it's not just like you keep on teaching and your learners are supposed to be learning and then there is assessment. There is a test at the end. No, it should never be at the end. But we know, for example, that exams and tests tend to make many people, lots of people, most people nervous. If I were here, if I were with you there physically, I would ask you, hands up if you used to or still feel nervous or even a bit anxious or a lot anxious when you know you have to take an exam. And there's usually 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 people who challenge me and I say, I enjoy tests and exams, Rosalía. And I say, oh yeah, okay, I'll take your word for it, okay? But that's few people, right? Usually we don't really enjoy the idea of having to take an exam. So we know, because Cambridge is a university, right, that students, even students at Cambridge University, get to feel nervous about exams, right? This is why we have been researching mindfulness, right? And we have found interesting things about mindfulness. Mindfulness is not going to change your world 100% here and now. Mindfulness is about here and now, and you can bring mindfulness into your life and you will experience benefits. What benefits, for example? It will support your response to stress so that the tension doesn't really become stress or not as much stress as you have experienced before. Right? It's going to help you find things that will help you become more realistic about feeling calmer more quickly or more effectively, right? It will help you feel more confident when you know, no, I cannot change that, but I can do things to feel safer, to feel better about it, okay? Because it will help you little by little to understand yourself better. And by understanding yourself, you start understanding others better, okay? So mindfulness at Cambridge, these are some of the things, and all you have to do, and I will share, I have some links, my lovely colleagues from Flex, so you have these PowerPoint presentations, so you can have the different links, and I think people are starting to remind me, no, not yet, but very soon. So short secular meditations. People usually think of mindfulness and the first word, and it also starts with an M, so it's a very logical thing to do. They go to meditation, but remember this word, secular, nothing to do with religion, okay? And there is a really strong recommendation of inviting meditations in your life. You know what meditation was? What I ask you to do at a very beginner's level, that sort of thing, okay? And I hope you can get somebody with a softer, nicer voice for meditation, right? Because I don't think mine is the best voice possible. I would never think of that as a second career at this point in my life. You develop a regular practice. You can take, if you're at Cambridge, if you're a Cambridge University student, you can take a mindfulness course. You only have to buy a book that goes with the course so that you can keep on learning about it. They ask you to make sure, cuando quieras, that means go on quickly, okay? They ask you to, okay, it's been 40 minutes, so very quickly. They ask you to commit to mindfulness from 15 to 30 minutes. Look at 15. Can you think you can do those 15 minutes every day? In some cases, you can go with 10, okay? You take this course, I said, there's online meditations taking place at lunchtime, so you can go there. They have recorded meditation podcasts, and those are freely available, I believe, and I have shared that. And just to let you know very quickly is that mindfulness, I told you, was already happening. And, oh, I can hear people, and this is not me and mindfulness, I can hear people saying, go on, right? Development in these countries, and that is so, so important. Some of the things, if you don't want to start with mindfulness because you still think it's too new agey or too hippie, there are things that you can do. Go where you can find about neurobics, okay? Things that are non-invasive. Neurobics is like thinking of brain gym, okay? And you have simple activities that are easy to manage, that are inclusive, that people, all learners, all educators can use. For example, thinking of upside down. And we're going to do that very quickly, believe it or not, Maria, in about 15 seconds, I would show you what you would do upside down, which sounds like you have done with smells. Tongue twisters. Do you know what you do when you're trying to repeat a tongue twister? You focus on that here and now. That is your main thing, your focus, right? You can challenge your hand. And I would ask you, if I am right-handed, I try and use my left hand to write my name, right? You can think about how many, and very quickly, you can see by what I'm showing you here is upside down. So I would show you these, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, I would ask you, did you notice all of those things? Can I ask you how many people you saw? How many people were wearing glasses? What about beards? Who was wearing what color? What were they doing? Did you see any babies? Were there any animals? Do you remember? You don't remember, but here it comes again. Can you answer all those questions now? Probably not, because I'm giving you fewer seconds than you would have, but I would show you then the picture and then you would see, okay? Tongue twisters, the first one looks easy. It's not. Try and say it quickly. But any other ones, El Rey de Parangaricutirimícuaro in Spanish, I will challenge people with that one because I am an expert on that one. Challenging your hand, I've explained. So you can do very quickly because these are lovely things that you're going to see. How many? 1, 2, 3, Did you count them? Maria, you had to answer the question correctly, otherwise I will not stop talking.
7. 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have to finish. So you would ask questions about puppies. These are other things. Everything you see here, I've already mentioned many of them, but don't worry, these are the references, right? And Maria, notice I'm saying Maria because I'm being very formal. Maria, all I'm doing now is saying thank you. You know what? I love you, and I love you with all my heart. So happy birthday this year. Happy birthday, at least 37 more years. Oh, please, God, of Universidad de Colima and the Flex, because you guys, you rock, and I love you. Always remember that. Thank you very much.
And we love you to pieces, Rosalía.
Ah, the feeling is so mutual.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Rosalía. We love you, of course, and you're always welcome here in Colima, wherever it is, in Colima, Villa de Álvarez, Manzanillo, or any other place.
And look at those beautiful faces. Look
by
at
the
those beautiful
volcano,
faces.
if you wish, of course. We can definitely.
We can go to that place where they have the alcoholic. I shouldn't be talking about those alcoholic beverages.
Oh my God, exactly. Yeah, we gotta go and try new flavors. They do have new flavors. Yeah, you
okay. Elisa is going to say, who's this drunk that you brought here today?
Well, it's just a tryout, you know. It's not a really going wasted at any point.
I'll go quiet now. I can do that.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Rosalía. La Universidad de Colima, a través de la Dirección General de Educación Continua, otorga la presente constancia, la maestra Rosalía Valero Elizondo, por su participación como facilitador en el ciclo internacional de conferencias y talleres con motivo del 37 aniversario de la Facultad de Lenguas Extranjeras de la Universidad de Colima, realizado por la Facultad de Lenguas Extranjeras del 19 al 21 de septiembre de 2022, con duración de 15 horas y valor curricular. Atentamente, Estudio y Lucha Trabaja, Colima, México, septiembre 2022, firma maestro Jesús Omar Brizuela Padilla, director general de la Dirección General de Educación Continua. Muchísimas gracias, Rosalía, por su intervención.
Thank you. You're all heroes. Let me just say that. You're all heroes. Keep on shining. Keep on rocking. I love you. Mexico is proud of you. There's only thing I heard, Elisa, there's only thing, I'm sorry, once a teacher, always a teacher. When you said, una de las universidades más reconocidas en el estado. No. En todo el país.
It is. It certainly
la
is.
profesión de la enseñanza, el aprendizaje, la evaluación del inglés no sería lo que es sin la presencia de la Universidad de Colima y la Flex.